on this Friday, March 29th. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett here on News 6 Plus and ClickOrlando.com. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. Glad you can be with us today. We're talking about our holiday forecast for Easter weekend. We're also talking to a doctor from Orlando Health coming up in a bit about swim safety and water safety now that the temperatures are starting to shift, and we're excited about it, but we also want to keep safety in mind. So we'll get to that. But first, a check of that forecast and the winds of change. Meteorologist Michelle Morgan is here for Candace this morning. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Bridget. How are you doing today?
I keep saying winds of change, but I guess it's winds of, more of the same, but there's still wind in the forecast.
No, I like it. I think it's
Okay.
very poetic. I love how you say it. I think I might put that in my forecast. Moving on, the winds have changed.
Just don't take the bunny off yet because I love that bunny.
No,
Okay.
no. But you know what? We're looking at a really nice forecast today. Yesterday we had some rain, nothing major, some beneficial rain across central Florida. The gardens really do need the rain, but it was all thanks to a cold front. That cold front has now exited the area, so we're looking at much drier conditions. So I don't know about you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely looking forward to it.
Oh, yes, I am too. I am really looking forward to it. All the dyeing the eggs, Easter egg hunts, church service, all of it. And we have a really nice forecast getting into all of that.
Yes, definitely. Families will be together, enjoying the holiday weekend. And here's what we got going on. So, right now, if you are heading out the door, it is chilly in a few locations. Check out your current temperatures. We are in the 50s and 60s across Central Florida. We'll start off with Marion County, the coolest. We're at 50 in Ocala, and then Palm Coast also pretty cool at 51, and then Daytona Beach 55, and milder south of the I-4 corridor, and I'm talking about Orlando, Kissimmee, Cocoa Beach. You all are starting your Friday morning in the lower 60s. So the setup for today, really a pleasant setup. That cold front is way offshore over the Atlantic Ocean. You could see there on your screen. So what you're looking at, this is the water vapor imagery. This is a satellite way up in space, really taking pictures of what's going on in the atmosphere, and all of that orange stuff you see over the peninsula, that is dry air. So we have a ton of it over the peninsula today, and it's going to hang around as we head into the weekend and lasting into the first half of next week. Also, want to draw your attention to that blue H out there to the northwest. That's an area of high pressure. That area of high pressure is going to inch closer and closer to us as we head into the weekend, and our temperatures are going to respond, meaning we will be back in the 80s as we head into our Saturday and Sunday. But before we get to your Easter weekend forecast for today, a lot of kids are out of school. It's Good Friday, and you have any plans today? The forecast is looking great. We stay in the 60s through the morning today, featuring plenty of sunshine. I do think we'll be in the lower 70s by noon, by 1. And then my forecast high for today is 77 degrees. Now, it is going to be a pleasant, less humid day, but also slightly breezy conditions. We're going to continue those winds out of the north between 5 to 10 miles per hour, and then higher wind gusts are expected along our coastal areas, and that's going to cause some coastal concerns. But here are your highs. Look at this: 76 in Mount Dora and Sanford, 77 in the Villages, Leesburg, Ocala. As we head to our coastal communities, a little bit cooler due to those winds: 71 in New Smyrna Beach, Daytona Beach, 70 in Palm Coast, and 75 in Melbourne. So here's what I'm talking about: those coastal concerns, those hazards. Now, we are looking at a small craft advisory, so if you're planning on doing any boating, any fishing, we are looking at choppy seas. Again, those seas will be between 7 to 10 feet, and those winds out of the north between 15 to 25 knots. There's also a high rip current risk. I really don't think anybody will go swimming today because it will be a little bit cooler along our coast. But if you plan on walking along the beach or anything like that, just be mindful that the rip current risk is elevated this morning and also this afternoon. Also, pollen going to be a problem today. Yesterday we
Mm-hmm.
had that beneficial rain, right? And it knocked down the pollen particles in the atmosphere. But for today, we're in that high range again, and same deal as we head into Saturday. Knocked down just a bit on Sunday, between that medium to high range. Nonetheless, you'll be sniffling and sneezing again if these allergens if you're very sensitive to oak, juniper, and bayberry. So just be mindful of that if you have any outdoor activities planned. Now, really not much to talk about in terms of future radar. Everything looking clear. Really nice day. We'll see a few clouds push on shore, and that's about it. Just a few passing clouds. No rain. And even tonight, it's Friday night. I'm sure a few of you or many of you have Friday night plans, planning on dinner. It's going to be a really nice forecast tonight, and those winds are expected to subside. So here's what you've all been looking for, that 7-day forecast. So today's Good Friday, a high of 77, today featuring plenty of sunshine. Now, tonight's going to be another chilly night. So temperatures are going to fall into the middle to upper 50s. I'm calling for 56 degrees. So it's going to be a chilly start tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon is going to be another sunny day, low humidity, comfortable. Temperatures will be slightly above average with a daytime high of 82. And then on Sunday, it's Easter. If you're planning to head out to church, the weather's going to be just fine. Gorgeous. Another sunny day, highs in the middle 80s. And then as we head into our Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be warm, upper 80s, both of those days. And notice, still sunny. And then on Wednesday, a lot of long range models are indicating our next weather front, a cold front, will be passing through the area. So that is going to increase our rain chances to 50%, and that may go up a little bit more as we get closer to that day. But again, we need the rain, beneficial rain moving into the area, but temperatures still pretty warm in the middle 80s. And then on Thursday, a little bit of a cool down, but dry with temperatures in the upper 70s. So personally, I think this is a really nice 7-day forecast.
And I think we earned it.
I think so too. I agree. So, whatever you got going on, it's going to be really nice. No severe weather in the next 7 days as of right now. So it's looking pretty good, Bridgett.
Yes, thanks so much, Michelle. Looking forward to it. So, are you going to be, doing anything fun with your little boy?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of things planned this weekend. There's a few egg hunts happening across town, so I think we're going to check those out. Also, even at home, now that I'm back home with my family, I haven't spent Easter Sunday in years. So this is going to be a really nice weekend to spend, just some quality family time with my
Yes.
parents and my siblings. And then, my little one, he gets to hang out with his grandparents and his cousins. So we're really looking forward to that because we haven't really had that in years.
Yeah, yeah, and you were in New Orleans, and like Mardi Gras just
hmm
passed, so you were able to go back and enjoy that. And now you're back home, you can enjoy the holiday.
Yeah. What about you? Have anything planned?
Yes, so lots of stuff going on. We have lots of housekeeping going on, but we also will be doing, all the traditional stuff, the dyeing of the eggs, the egg hunts, and the church service, and all of that. So, it's going to be a nice weekend weather-wise too. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
sure many of us are looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, happy Easter, and I will see you later. Thanks, Michelle.
Happy Easter. You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye. I want to get over to Trooper Steve out in Results One. And, Steve, this has been a really nice week, and you're wrapping up on a high note today when you go out on patrol. And good morning.
Good morning, Bridget. I came in so hyped this morning.
You
I had
did.
the tunes going. Michelle had her music going on. I wish, we could have it, but I guess it's a choice. Sometimes we just got to
Well, it costs
choose to,
money.
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of paperwork involved when we play music, licensed music. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All those copyright stuff. But we had
hmm
fun this morning, and yes, you're right. So this Friday is a real special Friday because I'm welcoming in not only a friend but a local professional in this community, and it is the highest ranking female in the history of the University of Central Florida's police department. I'm going to be welcoming in Deputy Chief Robin Griffin Kitzero. She is the number 2 at UCF. So it goes, the chain of command goes from the chief of police then to the deputy chief. And she is the number 2 over there. Talk about a career of service for now almost 37 years. She's been a law enforcement officer. She hails from South Florida. You want to talk about someone who is beyond educated, multiple bachelors, a few masters, and is currently working on her doctor's degree. And the future is so bright for Deputy Kitzrow, and I'm excited. She's going to be joining us at 10 o'clock today, part of our Women's History Month, and of course, using Trooper Steve on patrol to feature some of these amazing ladies that we have here locally in law enforcement. Earlier this week, I had two ladies from St. Cloud Police Department, but I don't know about you. I'm all about getting some brass in here. She's got amazing 2 stars on that collar, showing that she is one of the leadership out there. And I tell you, I've interacted with her a few times, and just an awesome spirit. I can't wait for you guys to meet her today, and that's going to be at 10 o'clock this morning. I'm thrilled to go over to UCF today. It's going to be a really good time.
Very nice, very nice. Well, how are the roads looking? This is Friday. It's a holiday weekend.
It is a holiday weekend, so things got really interesting this morning. The first hour we were okay, and then that second hour came around in Volusia County. You guys blew up on us. So right now things are, I'm saying 50% better, because at least 95 is back open. So southbound lanes, which you're looking at right now on Department of Transportation camera, 265-mile marker southbound 95 puts it at LPGA Boulevard. What you're seeing there is a large scene on the right shoulder, but all your traffic lanes are open, and the traffic isn't that bad out there anymore. So the map showing, hey, we're running pretty clear here. The crash is still there. We did have another incident just west there of I-95, which they have cleaned up. Daytona Beach PD was working that. But this is when I say 50% better, because here's the 50% bad part. Westbound International Speedway Boulevard, also known as US 92, right in the center portion between Daytona Beach and DeLand. Westbound lanes are shut down right now, unfortunately, for a fatal crash investigation at Lanscombe Lane, vehicle versus pedestrian. Florida Highway Patrol working that. I want to give a huge shout out to Lieutenant Taylor for giving us this information early this morning for your everybody commute. Outside of that, Bridgett, not horrible, but it is a Friday and it's a holiday weekend, so people need to be careful. Downtown Orlando, the sun is just shining this morning, looking so nice through that area. We do still have a traffic light problem, and Popka Vineland and Conroy Windermere, but for the most part, pretty smooth. Trying to get my computer to advance. Dr. Phillips, good morning to you. Just keep in mind the diverging diamond, troopers present around the clock down there. Your drive times, 26 minutes Osceola to Colonial, 15 minutes Lake Mary to Colonial along your I-4 direction, and Edgewater and Alba has been cleared out. East Orange County looking pretty good. Before I let you go, real quick, I just wanted to reiterate yesterday's Trooper Steve on patrol. Reginald, a.k.a. Reggie, 5-year-old German Shepherd looking for a home over at Orange County Animal Services. Please go to clickorlando.com and watch that video, because if you look closely on Reggie, my heart is still attached to his paw, because he was just... You, Bridgett, you already know me and animals.
I already know. And I saw the video.
Yeah.
He was sweet.
Ezzy was giving me a hard time this morning because she was on a serious news story yesterday, and she called in saying, hey, I need video edited. And they go, hey, we're distracted right now with Trooper Steve on patrol. He's with the dog. Can you call us back later? And she totally understood. Understood.
Yeah.
So
well, I can't
he's
wait
just
till
like
you
a
have
boy.
the next. I know. I want an update on where Reginald ends up finding a forever home, and then I can't wait till you have another fur baby in the truck with you. So can't wait for that announcement.
Thanks, Bridgett. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye. All right. So we want to get to a little bit of news. Then we'll go to the doctor to talk about water safety and swim safety. But first, an update from our Mark Lehman about Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill. She bonded out yesterday. Again, she is facing a series of charges and possibly dozens of years in prison if convicted. So he has more now on what could happen if she's convicted on these charges of draining $100,000 from a 96-year-old woman's account.
Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill didn't say anything as she walked out of jail yesterday. She posted bond hours after being arrested on 7 charges that include fraud.
Mrs. Hill effectively betrayed the trust of her community by taking advantage of a 96-year-old elderly citizen, which is one of the most vulnerable in that community.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement accusing Hill of using the identity of a 96-year-old woman to fraudulently purchase a house in her name. They also say she used the woman's money to buy expensive things for herself.
personal luxury items such as expensive bottles of perfume from high-end retailers, clothing, and paying her own personal bills.
Investigators say the total exceeded $100,000. Following Hill's arrest, people who live in her district reacted to the allegations.
They're just open to be exploited, and for someone who we trusted to be in that position to exploit that is quite disturbing.
Whatever this is, we support her healing, even if we don't support her actions.
And so we'll continue to follow that. And now we want to get to Dr. Donald Plumley from Orlando Health. He's a pediatric surgeon there. Good morning, Dr. Plumley.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us. You know, the temperatures are starting to really warm up now. And of course, Florida year round, I mean, we're always in the water. But this idea of water safety and swim safety really has to be top of mind.
It sure does. Coming into spring break, the temperatures are warming up. People are down here on vacation and just kids around water. And we're already starting to see some children come in with injuries from that.
What types of things do you see the most? Because we talked a little bit before we started, and you said that, you know, the highest amount of victims, young victims, are between the ages of 1 and 4 when it comes to drowning.
Right. The kind of two big groups, we see all ages have drowning events, but really that toddler age 1 to 4, and then special needs children. And we've seen a lot more of those, especially over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So extra special care around the little kids.
And we talked about ABCs. You said that there's something to keep in mind when just in general looking at those things we want to remember around the water whenever we're going to be around the water with little children or those who may not be able to swim. And even those
Absolutely.
who can't swim.
Exactly. So an injury can happen at any time. So the ABCs, we like people to just remember, the A is just for adult supervision. And that's probably the most important. If you have a body of water, children are around water, they have to be supervised. And we always say the adult person needs to be kind of like a designated driver. They need to be paying attention, not on their cell phone, not drinking, and it gets tiring. So you might, if you're having a birthday party, have shifts and different people assume that role. The B is for barriers, that anytime you have water, especially a pool, you should have a safety fence around it, alarms, door locks, things like that. And especially, we'll talk a little bit in rental homes, if you're here on vacation or whatnot, make sure that those safety devices are in place or available to you when you choose a property or a resort to go to. And the last is C for classes. And the classes are both for children and adults. We really encourage children to take swim lessons. And there's a lot of opportunities in our community and sponsorships and scholarships for swim safety. But also, if you're going to go on vacation, be around water, kind of prepare for that in advance. And for the adults to learn CPR. Bystander CPR, when there is an unfortunate drowning, has a marked improvement outcome. If someone on scene knows CPR, it could start resuscitating before our firemen and whatnot get there.
And there are many resources, too, for learning CPR as well. And even just in recent years, just the style of CPR has changed. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really been simplified. It's not as complicated. And there's eCPR. There's a Learn CPR station at Orlando Airport now. I mean, so it's something you could watch a video and learn. Our 911 operators will oftentimes talk people through it, but it really makes a dramatic improvement in the children's outcome.
And the mouth-to-mouth, what dictates if you need to do mouth-to-mouth with the CPR?
Really, the current thing is just to start the compressions. The medics will be there. We live in an urban area. You're going to have medics on scene in a few moments, and then they can control the airway and ventilations and whatnot.
Okay. And, you know, you talk about lessons. I have 2 little ones. They're almost 6 and almost 8, and we went through a series of lessons at different places. And I can say that there's a bit of, you know, a challenge there when it comes to lining it up with your schedule if you're a working parent, and then the cost involved, and then sometimes you come away from the lessons and they still don't know how to swim. So what's your best advice in how to narrow down the process and just when you should start?
You know, just ask around, look for reputable people. I think the important thing is just because you took lessons last summer doesn't mean that they're going to retain those skills this summer. My mom put us in new swim lessons every summer and made sure we're up to speed. And then just assume you still, just because they've had swim lessons, doesn't make them water safe. And even if you can swim, you can hit your head on the side, collide with someone. So there still needs to always be that adult supervision, and even adults. There has to be someone kind of observing the area.
We talk about swimming pools a lot. We also have so many bodies of water. You know, you talked about special needs children and how sometimes they can end up in dangerous situations where maybe they've wandered off or something. And then unfortunately, tragedy strikes when they're located in maybe like a retention pond or something nearby the property. But what about boating and all the things of that nature when it comes to life jackets and life preservers and who should wear one? Because I know sometimes it gets to be where lots of people don't want to wear life jackets when they're out on watercraft, but it's not a good idea.
Really, any child on a boat should have a life jacket on, even if they can swim, because if you're on a body of water, it might be a long distance to shore, or you might have multiple children on board where you can help one or two, but 3 or 4 kids. So just to have that safety, and things can happen so fast, a wave, a cross current, bumping something and have someone fall in the water. So really any child in a boat should just be wearing a life jacket. It should be like a bicycle helmet or skiing helmet. It should just become the norm. It isn't, but it should be.
Yeah, I came across a story where they're looking at, if we had more pools, then that would promote more, more children learning how to swim. How are we doing in terms of more children learning how to swim? Because I know I didn't learn until I was college age, and there are many adults who never learned how to swim. So are we doing better in that regard in terms of making sure more kids are learning to swim?
We live in an area where there's a lot of pools, obviously in Central Florida. There's more and more community pools. A lot of these were closed during COVID, and that's when we saw a big uptick in
Mm-hmm.
drownings because they didn't have that opportunity for in-person lessons. And I think there's been a delay in coming back up to speed. Children in Florida are really exposed to water. We see, unfortunately, a lot of children on vacation, and they're coming from the Midwest, the Northeast, where there aren't a lot of pools, and all of a sudden they're in a position where there is a pool located on the property or nearby. So in Orlando, we're pretty blessed to have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
pools because of our weather and climate and whatnot.
I looked at American Red Cross. They have a swim app, actually, and they encourage people to download that where it has safety content and, like you said, the CPR information. What about, when it comes to going out to the beaches? Because I know many days our meteorologists are like, don't even go in the water. And then, we're constantly fighting to hire enough lifeguards.
Right, I was going to say there's a paucity of lifeguards right now, so you really have to watch kids and follow heed the warnings. When it's a red flag day, don't go in the water. Even just you can wade in a little bit and get knocked over by a wave.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and just you got to really keep an eye on the kids, just like at the pool. Have a water watcher. You have 3 or 4 kids. Someone's already got to be watching, counting, seeing where they are, because especially at the beach, a wave, a rip current, or something can get away from you really fast.
Yes. Well, all good information. And, I really appreciate you taking out the time to just draw attention to this and help build awareness, Dr. Plumley. So we appreciate you being with us.
Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
Have a great day.
You too now. All right, we have a little bit of time, and we want to tell you about a few more stories that are happening in our area. And right now, there is a hearing. Our Ezzy Castro has more on this. It's a local story, but it's getting national attention. A federal judge is set to hear some arguments today when it comes to a new federal law about the use of pronouns in schools. So here's more with Ezzy.
A federal judge is set to hear arguments in a lawsuit to try and block part of a law restricting pronouns and titles in Florida schools. It comes after a high school teacher was told she could no longer be addressed by her preferred pronoun after the law took effect last summer. Another teacher, who identifies as non-binary, was also fired last year after she insisted she wanted to be addressed as they, them. The lawsuit against the Florida Department of Education claims the state law unlawfully requires Miss Wood to stay silent about or misrepresent a basic element of how she presents herself to the world and conceives of herself. In addition to the distress this restriction has caused her, the new regime has disrupted her classroom and confused her students. Pronoun restrictions in schools is among several bills expanding Florida's Parental Rights in Education Act, which banned the instruction of topics like sexual orientation.
This bill makes sure that Florida students and teachers will never be forced to declare pronouns in school or be forced to use pronouns not based on biological sex.
Critics, though, argue the bill is part of the recent attacks on the LGBTQ plus community by the governor and Republican lawmakers.
This rule is yet another attack on teachers.
It's time we let kids be kids.
So we'll be letting you know more about that as it unfolds. We also want to let you know about a delay on the Delta Heavy launch. You know, we talked about it yesterday. It will be the last one for the Delta IV Heavy, but they scrubbed it yesterday after an attempt due to winds, and there was a problem with a pipeline. So they said they were going to try again today, but they announced last night that they need some more time to troubleshoot. So we'll keep you posted. And WKMG is getting ready to hit the road again. We loved it when we went out to reopen our golf club. Now we're headed to Sanford. That's 32771. And we want to know what makes that area special for you and your loved ones. Let us know. Also, tell us about any problems you want to draw attention to so we can cover it. And we'll be letting you get your voice heard. So go to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad and tell us what you'd like to see covered in 32771. That will do it for this Friday edition of Breakfast with Bridgett. Weather-wise with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is coming up next. Have a great weekend.